So Garrett, welcome to the people of Utah.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited to hear, man. So why don't you start with where you're from and what you're doing with us in Utah? I'm pretty sure you're a Utah native, right?
I am
Go for it.
born and raised in Utah. I've never really left. So I was born in West Valley, kind of the hood of Utah.
Yeah, you see it right now.
But I think I only spent like 2 years there, so I never really knew West Valley very much. And then we moved up to Logan and spent probably 4 years up there. And then we started moving down in Utah and kind of stopped in Mapleton. So we went to South Jordan. We went to American Fork. We went to um, Mapleton, obviously, is where we landed. But yeah, just kind of all over.
Did you go through like elementary school through all these different cities or high school or where did you?
Yeah, so I think I started elementary up in Logan, finished elementary down in South Jordan, and then started junior high in American Fork, ended junior high in Mapleton, and then started and ended the high school, luckily, in Mapleton.
No, that's true, dude. If you have to splitting it up in elementary school is not a big deal. The high school is where it can be tricky. So
Like after junior high, after the first time I moved, I was like kind of giving up on making new friends. 'Cause I was like, I'm just gonna have to move again.
yeah,
Because my dad's job wasn't like super stable at the time. So I was like, if I make friends, then it's just going to be a hard transition somewhere else again, having to say goodbye, make new friends. And so, like, for the first little while in Mapleton, I was like, just kind of sec- secluded myself, didn't really talk to anyone. And then it wasn't really until like 11th grade that I was like, oh, shoot, I have 2 years left. May as well make some friends and enjoy the rest of high school.
right on. Okay, so Mid Mountain High School, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha. And then once you got married and have your own kids, where are you guys living at?
We were in Orem, and then we moved over to Pleasant Grove, and that's where my wife was pretty much raised her whole life. She was born in California, but I think she moved to PG at 3 years old.
Oh, Barrett, I been PG since. Gotcha. You've been to like every city in Utah, like lived in every city.
I haven't escaped Utah. Utah's my home.
Yeah, dude. So yeah, it's like all of Utah County, a little bit of Salt Lake, and then whatever county Logan's in, dude. I don't know, Cache Valley. Wait, oh,
Is that a county?
no, that sounds like a county, but I don't know. But all right on, dude. Okay. Out of all the cities you lived in, do you have a favorite? I mean, I guess most of your growing up was in Mapleton's. I don't know.
Yeah, I would say Mapleton. Like it's just a pretty city, and when we first moved there, there weren't a lot of people. Like the development was still not underway, and like right now, it's just kind of booming.
Very crazy. Yeah.
There's development everywhere.
And I think it's gonna get even crazier because like I grew up in Spanish Fork adjacent, right? Which also has grown like crazy since I've been there. But I feel like most of the growth is happening like Springville and Spanish Fork, and I don't know how long it's gonna do that, and I think it's gonna like creep into Mapleton like crazy. Like Mapleton's growing like houses and stuff, but I bet like businesses and like big businesses are gonna make their way over. I don't know. Yeah, we'll see.
I mean, I was there for their milestone of getting their second stoplight. Huge, bro. Went from one to two stoplights while I was there.
Have a ribbon cutting and everything. That's awesome, bro. So tell me a little about yourself. I know you make content. I know you have different, business ventures going on. Tell us about, I don't know, the career path you've taken since you graduated high school and got home from your mission.
Yeah. So off my mission, I jumped straight into college. I got home from my mission in August, I believe, and then I started that fall semester. I did 3 semesters, and then I had an internship through BYU at a place called Milestorm. So they actually, yeah, they actually got featured on Shark Tank. It's like a vibrating and heating massage ball.
Okay.
And so my brother-in-law, and in those 3 semesters of college, I got married. My brother-in-law, he worked full-time for Milestorm, and he just opened the position for an internship there. They were really small, really didn't need an intern, but he opened one up for me. And then kind of the sister company of Milestorm is Rep Labs. And Rep Labs is an advertising agency, so they were doing Milestorm's advertising. And the boss of Rep Labs just kind of saw my work ethic and offered me a full-time position there as a video editor. And I hadn't really done that since high school, and I only did a little bit in high school. but I was thrilled because I love creative work. So took the job, and then after taking the job, life just kind of got pretty overwhelming because we had our first baby. I was married, obviously, and then full time work. I was like, I'm not one of those people that has the bandwidth mentally to balance school, work, and home life. So I just wanted to focus on the work and home life. So abandoned school, dropped out. Just been kind of doing that since. And then my passion for video work is still there, but I found a new passion in my last semester of college. I took an entrepreneurship class with Ralph Little. I don't know if you
I don't know that.
I don't even know if he's employed by the school. I think he just kind of loves teaching. Very successful guy, and his class just kind of changed my mindset of what I wanted the rest of my career to look like. I didn't really want to work for anyone my whole life. After taking his class, is really interesting. Did a lot of case studies of different entrepreneurs throughout the U.S. and I decided from there, I was like, I need to start a business. I don't know what. We are actually required to start a business in the class. I didn't, so I didn't get a good grade. But afterwards, like 3 years goes by, and started a game business because I'm passionate about games. It's more like a passion project than a good business model play. And yeah, I've been pursuing that for 2 years. Yeah. And then my wife has been starting her own things on the side too.
I did see like a phone case thing just came out, right? I don't know if I saw on your social media or her social media. It was actually funny because I haven't seen you in like 6 years, but I've kept up with you through social media. I love it. It's great. So tell me about like the phone case thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So 2 years ago, we both kind of had the idea of an interchangeable phone case. So the phone case is the same, and then the backs that you can put on, click on and click off.
Do you know this what Hat did? I don't want to.
I don't.
Well, then
That's the mistake I made though. Like 2 years ago, I went to China through Alibaba as like a naive new entrepreneur, excited about an idea, and I reached out to like 10 manufacturers trying to get quotes on this phone case idea. And they'd ask me like, hey, can you send us over sketches? Can you send us over like the functionality of the case and why are the magnets here? And so I was like, oh yeah, sure, I'll share everything.
that's cost.
And so 2 years ago, I kind of sold our IP, and we kind of view it as a blessing in disguise though, in the long run, because each mold for the phone case would have cost like $2,500. And we were already struggling with money. We kind of still are, but even if you were to just do iPhone model 14 through 16, that's 12 molds that you have to create. I don't even know how much money that is. That's too much for us. And so that's when I just abandoned the idea. I was like, we can't afford it. Yeah. It would be a cool idea, but we can't do it right now. And then things kind of started slowing down for our game business, and so I started looking on Alibaba again for just inspiration on new business ideas, and I stumbled upon the interchangeable phone case there that a manufacturer was already producing. Wow. So I was like, well, I mean, it's still my original idea. Someone stole it. It's not as exciting, but it's still pretty cool. And so I reached out to them, and we've kind of been back and forth, and we've received samples last week, and
Nice.
we're going to go forward with it. We're excited.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to hop on. I got to order. So talk about Gooroo Games, right? Where did the name come from? I know Guru is like a master, but spelled. I mean, so Gooroo Games, and then what games you have out?
Gooroo Games, I think I just liked the alliteration. It's like, my name's Garrett Griffin. I liked the GG. I knew there had to be games in the business name, so I was like, Gooroo Games kind of sounds cool. And then I did some trademark search and found that every spelling of GURU anything was taken, so I had to change it up a little.
Nice. Yeah, worked out great.
Yeah. And then as far as games go, we have two. So we jumped in pretty quick. We didn't really follow the traditional timeline of most game creators. Usually game creators will have an idea, they'll play test it forever, And then they'll start a Kickstarter eventually. Like they'll try to grow on social media first, and then grow a pre-launch following on Kickstarter up until like 500 people have followed the pre-launch page. And I didn't think that was necessary. Looking back, it totally is necessary. We just jumped straight in. The first game is called Jack Be Thimble. It's like a little water splashing game, kind of fun. It's a game that my family played all growing up.
I was gonna ask you how you came up with it. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so we called it the Thimble Game. And we just write on a piece of paper a category, and then that one person that wrote the category will tell everyone what the category is, and then they'll write a secret word that goes along with the category on the card to put it face down. And then we took like a Playmobil bucket, so like a Lego piece, pretty much, filled it with water, and we did it that way because we didn't have a thimble. And through selling my games and doing markets, I've actually found that a lot of other families in Utah have played a version of it. Oh, they're like, oh man, this is the game that Grandma taught us. And so they get really excited, and it was really cool selling that game.
Dope.
The Kickstarter didn't do great because I didn't do that pre-launch like everyone was telling me to. We were able to get funded though, and that's kind of what took us off around enough to buy the games and sell the games.
So that's how it started, right? Okay. And then the next game, Call Bull.
Yeah, Call Bull. I think everyone listening will probably know the inspiration of this game, which is BS. So in BS, it's the bluffing game where you're trying to get rid of all your cards in the middle. You're playing your cards face down. If you play ones, I play twos. If we don't have it, we lie. And I played that at Scout Camp.
Yeah, I feel like I played that once or twice. So
yeah, we like gamble with candy and play BS and other games. And it always turned into someone having all four of one number, and then it just kind of got boring, and you can never really finish the game of BS by the end, because if you bluff and someone has all four of that number,
you're never gonna.
Yeah. So we changed it up. We added some strategy to it, added a limitation on how many times you can challenge someone's bluff, which with the added consequence of gaining a point or losing a point, which then makes people hesitate on when they actually want to call bull, because then they might lose a point.
It makes sense, because they're in BS. There's no penalty for throwing out BS. Really,
you can call BS whenever you want, and the only penalty is you take the card.
Yeah, I get beside that. Yeah, like that's a good point. Okay.
And then we added some fun special cards. There's like a couple wilds in there. There's a card where you can view the deck, just to see what's still in play, and then one that lets you restart the pile at any number. So other people kind of get thrown off on their strategy, and you to build your own strategy that way.
Smart, dude.
Yeah,
right on.
And honestly, I like Jack Be Thimble more as like a game to play. But the artwork and like the process of making Call Bull, I think, was definitely my favorite of the two.
Okay, awesome. Do you have any others in the works right now we can expect sometime in the next year or so?
No, not really. Okay, I was actually planning on launching the new game this summer.
Yeah.
But at one of our in-person events, I got connected with another big name game creator. I guess his son, and we just were chatting, and he was mentioning that they had been in business for like 16 years, and that their business was struggling. And I'm like, at that point, I'm like, man, I love games, but I don't want this business to be something where I'm trying to grow for 16 years and it's just still struggling.
Fair enough. Yeah.
So that's kind of when we made the pivot to Alibaba, looking for new ideas, and then we stumbled upon our old phone case idea. Very cool. We're going to kind of pivot that way. If things happen with the game company, great. Like, we're still going to keep it alive for as long as we can, but yeah.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, and I saw a lot of the content you were making about it and stuff, and like when you, I guess, first came out with it, it was really fun to watch. You take message your coworkers and do all kinds of good stuff. So
we tried anything and everything. That's good. And some things stuck, some things just were a bust. Yeah. And I think that's kind of what everything is like in content creation, you just have to try so many things because how you land on something that sticks with people. And there was an igloo in my boss's freezer that helped.
That was a good one. Yeah. Well, your next business journey, I don't know. I can talk to you about my show and my plan. Maybe you can help me out because you know all the video stuff. So we'll see. Stay tuned.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit more about your family, right? It sounds like you had your older brother you mentioned with the company helping you out. You got kids of your own. Tell us about your immediate family and then your wife and kid.
Yeah. So I'm one of 6 kids. I'm third in line. So it's my older brother. He's um older than me to the point I don't know his age.
Yikes. Okay.
I'm 26. I think he's like 32. Okay. I think he just turned 30 a couple of years ago. I think he's 32. My sister's 28. I'm 26. And then it just kind of every 2 years went down. I have 4 sisters and that one brother. Well, grew up. I wouldn't say we were the tightest family, but like we got along. We didn't really fight very much. But like marrying into my wife's family, they're like really close. Like even though they bicker and fight way more than my family did, they're a lot closer.
Yeah, different family dynamics are way interesting when you get married. I know.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and luckily, before my brother went on the mission, we weren't close at all. And then when he came back, we started connecting more and going on hikes together, talking more. And then I went on my mission, came back, got married, and then our wives hit it off. And that relationship with my brother has gone to new heights for sure. And then kind of all of the other relationships have, I mean, stuck there, but haven't grown much since this marriage.
Very cool. And then you have 3 kids, you said now?
Yes.
Wow. How old's the oldest?
She's 4. So she turned 4 in March. And then we have a 2-year-old boy. He turned 2 in February. And then we just had a baby 2.5 months ago.
Well, there's some crazy ages, man. That's the craziest time of parenting, bro.
Oh man, tell me about it. They get along great for 10 minutes and then they just fight for 5 minutes and then they're like best buds and they say, "Oh, Emmett, I love you. Amelia, I love you." And they're just best friends again. So I'm hoping they kind of grow up the same way that my wife's family is, and that like they'll fight, but they'll also support each other and love each other, right? Like her family.
So your oldest isn't even in kindergarten yet, right? They're all still at home.
Yeah, they're still all at home. I think we're gonna homeschool.
Right on. Okay. Interesting. And what prompted that decision?
They're food allergies, actually. So at 8 months old, our 4-year-old went into anaphylactic shock. And so we kind of had an idea that she was allergic to eggs just because she had a problem with my wife's breast milk. And so she was spitting up a ton. And so we were cautious when we were like feeding her eggs and dairy and stuff. But one day we have like this cardboard pile up next to our trash can back then. We put our egg cartons in that cardboard pile up. She got into that egg carton and there was a little bit of egg yolk still on the carton. I think she like touched it, put it in her mouth. We like quickly wiped her off her hands once we realized that she had gotten into that. But then it was nap time. We put her down. For the first time ever, we tried the cry it out method. And she was just crying and crying and crying. We're like, this can't be normal. Because like the cry wasn't just like, "Hey, I want you guys. Please come pick me up." It was more like I was so scared. So my wife rushes in and her face is just, "Oh, let it out." That's crazy.
She's 8 months old?
8 months old. Yeah, this is like 3 days before Christmas too. And we were just terrified. She looked like, have you seen Harry Potter? So when Harry Potter gets struck by that one spell and his face gets all deformed and they can't tell who. Yeah, that's how she looked. And so we immediately knew we needed to rush her to the ER. They shot her up with epinephrine, got her an EpiPen. And every kid since then has just developed or been born with crazy allergies.
So do you know for sure when it's the eggs, you think?
Yeah, so we've done allergy testing since then.
Okay.
Very allergic to eggs, very allergic to milk. So if she ingested milk or eggs, she'd go into anaphylaxis. Wow. Is that common? Is that? It's more common now.
Interesting.
Because I've
Well,
never heard of that. So yeah. Um, and I could go down a rabbit hole of all the different things I could say causes food allergies or contributes to food allergies. My wife does a ton of research, and she could also just talk for hours about what she thinks causes it and what doctors are now kind of realizing. Because at first they were like, "Oh yeah, it's just genetics. It's probably one of you two has an allergy, and you kind of pass it down." But I don't really have allergies. My wife doesn't really have allergies, so yeah, it was a scary time, and we're still navigating it, still trying to learn from it. But long story short, that's what prompted us to not put them in school. Right. Like we didn't want to send them off with their EpiPens and just hope a teacher would be able to react fast enough with an EpiPen. Fair enough. It's been fun. It's fun watching her learn. It's fun teaching her.
so you started her kind of early then, because most kids don't start kindergarten till they're 5. Yeah, you've already been teaching her.
Yeah, she's a smart cookie too, because she knows how to count to 20 as a 4-year-old. She knows the whole alphabet. She's been writing her name, my name, the whole family, and like not a lot of 4-year-olds are doing the sure right now. And I'm not saying that to brag. It's just fun. She is really excited about school, and that's why we started her so early.
Awesome, man. That's very cool. So, for you guys. Is there anything, in your 4 years of being a parent, is there like one thing that stands out to you that you've learned on a bigger picture, whether that's about like your own identity or whether it's about advice for parents out there?
I learned that I am not as patient as I thought I was. When Morgan and I got married, she's like, "Man, you are so patient for all the stuff that you have to deal with. You're just a very patient person." And I kind of agreed. I'm like, "Yeah, I think I am too." But having kids, it's definitely it tests my patience, and I know that I am imperfect. Love that. And that's something that I really want to work on, because like my kids deserve the world, and like when I get upset with my kids right after, I feel so guilty, just because like they're kids and they can't quite grasp some of the ideas that us parents are trying to help them learn. Totally. Um, and so that's the biggest thing that I realize, is that I'm not as patient as I used to be or ever was, and I need to be more patient. And that I think any person that wants to become a parent just needs to start working on their patience now.
That's good to know, dude. Yeah, that's wild. Okay. Because I'm the same boat. I'm like, I generally feel like I'm pretty patient, but I know you say that, and yeah, right. Because I picture you as way more patient than me. I know that you used to, like, you have like the temperament of like, I don't know, just chill, easygoing. Like I can never see Garrett getting mad or yelling, but apparently that's possible. So yeah, free kids can do this. Possible. That's awesome, man. So looking back on your life, right? I mean, I know we're both young. Is there a piece of advice you would give to yourself, and what point in time would you go to give that advice?
Man, I would go clear back as far as I can remember to tell myself to just be my own person. Because I feel like my whole life I've just been a people pleaser, and I love making people happy. I hate conflict. And so, because of those two things, I've tried everything in my power just to do whatever anyone asks of me, even if I'm not passionate about it, even if I don't want to. Um, and that's not to like bag on anyone that raised me. Like my parents did a great job, and I just needed to be better at standing up for myself and being my own person. Like it wasn't their fault, it was mine. And I wish I could go back to when I was 6 years old and say, "Hey, just just grow up as Garrett instead of as your mother's son, or as your father's son, and as your sibling's brother, and like just be you."
It's cool you say that, because a lot of people I've asked that I've interviewed say similar things to that, and I would have a similar answer probably for myself too, which is, I don't know if it's like just a generational thing or maybe with social media when we were teenagers that happened more, but yeah, I think a lot of times a lot of people our age struggle with that, which is like, just wanting to like, I don't know, be. I mean, deep down we all want to be accepted. We all want those things, but like I don't know, to an unhealthy level. And maybe it's just because I don't talk with a lot of 45-year-old strangers, and so maybe they had that problem too. But it seems like a lot of people our age say the same thing.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Yeah, I would, if I could afford therapy for that, I would totally go to therapy for that reason specifically, is just to stop people pleasing, be your own person.
Love that, man. Fantastic advice. How about how has faith or belief in a higher power impacted your life?
And I I often ask myself, like, where would I be? Like, if I didn't believe in God, if I wasn't a member of the Church of Jesus Christ, if I hadn't served a mission. And honestly, I have no idea. I have no answer for you. Like, I would hope that I would still be making consciously good decisions and like leading a good life. And I would hope that I was still married to Morgan and having have our 3 kids. But it's just impacted me, and it's motivated me to treat people with kindness and to just like love the journey of life. There's so much that's going on with every person, but like if you have that perspective of there's life after this life, this isn't the only thing, it's not the end of the world because it's not the end of your life at the end of this life, that helps me stay more positive. I think overall is my religion and my faith and my belief helps me stay positive and happy.
That's interesting. I like that. Thank you for sharing. How about, back to Utah-based questions.
Mm-hmm.
What is your favorite thing about being here in Utah? I mean, you are a devout member of the church, so I'm sure that could be a part of it. And also your least favorite thing about Utah.
Yeah. My favorite thing, I would like to consider myself an outdoors person, but like there are some outdoors people that are way more intense than I am. Like,
fair enough.
I like to spend time outside, and the mountains I think are gorgeous, and I love being able to just wake up and see mountains on both sides of me. Occasionally, if we have the time and if I can find someone to go with, I like going camping in the mountains. And so I think just the landscape and the beauty of Utah is my favorite part. And then my least favorite part would definitely be like the cost of living.
Oh, dude, I know.
If the cost of living was the same as Texas, I don't think I would ever leave Utah.
That's what I'm saying, bro. I keep telling my wife, like, dude, Texas sounds pretty nice to me. But no, we're going to be in Utah for the rest of our lives for sure.
Yeah. we're just stuck in apartments. We're just apartment hopping here in Utah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we're actually looking soon because I've been interviewing for some jobs I'm excited about, and hopefully we'll be moving. But it'll all be in Utah for sure.
Oh. Yeah.
But yeah, man, that's cool. So that's your favorite thing, that's your least favorite thing. How about the food scene? Is there a place you like to go to a lot for all-time best place you've been?
Oh, man. The food scene has, like, dwindled down to rarely ever going out.
Yeah.
It's having kids with food allergies, because...
Oh, that's true. Even worse. Having kids in general.
Yeah.
Allergies, yeah.
Yeah, because we can't even really ask someone to watch the kids. That's how bad our anxiety is from that moment where we saw our kid with a swollen face and going into anaphylactic shock. We're just so stressed out leaving the kids with anyone. And so, like, we rarely go anywhere, and we can't bring them somewhere like a restaurant. But it's funny you asked about Utah, because I could give you an answer for Wisconsin.
Why Wisconsin?
Summer sales.
Oh, that's right. I gotta ask you about that. You did that for... Okay. But Utah-wise. Tell me Utah.
Utah-wise, man. I'm a Mexican foodie.
Okay.
I love Mexican food. So, like... the La Casita and the Betos and even like the American Mexican,
Oh, yeah.
Cafe Rio, Costa Vida.
Like, oh, dude, those are fire, dude. Yeah.
But as far as like a good sit down restaurant, I couldn't really give you a
Dude,
strong answer.
That's okay. I just went on my birthday. Well, my thing is to do is try new places. Like, I'm okay to go back to places I like, but I love, there's so many like local places I've never been, right? And so I went to this way good Mexican restaurant you'd probably love, dude. It's like American Fork. I forget what it's called, but it's fire. Remind me after the show, and I'll find it for you. But it was so good, dude. And we walked in, and there was someone like drinking out of a pineapple, like this like drink. I'm like, oh, this place is legit.
Yeah.
I ordered. They had a sour stop lemonade, So I was like, oh, in the Caribbean, like sour stop. And I ordered that, and it was like this massive like margarita thing. I'm like, oh, what the heck? And like the chips and sauce were massive, and so I'm like, okay. I ordered this one, like just the portions for everything continually were like, whoa, whoa, whoa. It was fantastic, man. It's
So size Mexican food is heaven.
yes, dude, exactly. It's super sized, but it's like real food. And
Yeah.
it was really good. I'll have to plug you. Okay. So the Mexican scene. So Wisconsin. How many years did you do sales? Was it all in Wisconsin?
It was just 1 year.
Okay.
It was the COVID year.
Oh,
And I think that was the worst thing. I feel like we'd be doing sales still if we didn't do sales COVID year.
right, right.
Just because I would knock a door and they would yell at me for not wearing a mask.
Sure.
And then I always kept a mask in my back pocket, so then I'd like, okay, I'll put a mask on. I put a mask on, and then the next door I knock, it's like a middle-aged 4-year-old man that's like, you idiot, why are you wearing a mask? You're outside. And this disease isn't even as bad as everyone's saying it is. So then he'd chew me out for wearing a mask, and then I'd take it off again. And it was just like a never-ending cycle. I couldn't please anyone.
You can't keep anybody happy, bro. Yeah.
And it seemed to only happen to me. Everyone else was like, yeah, no one cares if I'm not wearing a mask. But I showed up to a door, and I guess people just wanted my face covered.
The neighborhoods you were in, bro. That's crazy.
Or my smile is just like, you gotta cover that.
Cover that up, bro. That's so funny. So okay, so Wisconsin for 1 year. What was the why? Sounds like you still enjoyed it somewhat because you have a food place you love. I don't know.
I think that was like the only thing we liked about summer sales is like being able to just go out to eat and enjoy it.
It's so funny you say that because I did a summer single. I loved it. I did great. Then I did a summer married, and we hated it. I did bad, and we stopped. So it's the same thing. So like for me, it was we had just gotten married, and then I'm out like 14 hours a day, or whatever, and we're in a foreign city or whatever. Did that also part of the reason that your wife hated it, or was it just because of the COVID aspect you think made it just hard to sell, or?
No, it's like COVID. Despite COVID, we still did like above average for a first year rep.
Okay.
And so, like the money wasn't bad. It was just our experience with our team leads. So we had like the top of the company as our team lead, so we thought it was just going to be this incredible experience that he'd coach us and mentor us a little bit. No, he's like the most narcissistic person you'll ever meet, and like in the group chat, he'll say, "Oh man, I'm really struggling today," and then no one will respond, and so he'll respond to his own text saying, "Oh, sorry, I didn't want to say the name."
I'll cut that. That's fine. Don't worry. I'll cut that.
He'll say, sounds like to himself, "You got this. You're a great salesman. You're the best in the company." And so like he would
So cringe, dude. Oh my god.
so cringe, and we just all couldn't stand him. And then at night we were asking him for advice and stuff, and going over our pitch and doing those like role play scenarios, and he just wouldn't help. He's like, "I just gotta go to bed. I need a good night's sleep. I can't help you. Sorry." It's like that's the support
Yeah.
we got, parentheses in quotations, that we got.
The elite training you were offered and promised. That was great. Yeah, no, a lot of I feel like there's a lot of people who are like really good at sales that I like respect and I love what they have to say, but there's I think more people who are really good at sales that I just think I do not agree with most of the things they say.
Yeah.
And that was, I think, our experience. My first year, I loved it, and the leaders were great and everything. Second year, yeah, way toxic, way bad. It was like, there's so many funny things. It was like, the way you, like the dumbest quote is, the way you do anything is the way you do everything. If you're like feeling down and you're like not gonna like work hard for a day, then you're just gonna be a terrible father. Because if you're gonna quit at this, you're gonna quit at your family. I'm like, bro, I think I can pick and choose first of all, but whatever.
So,
but like,
form of guilt tripping.
yes, very toxic. And there was like one day it was like pouring, pounding rain, like comically pouring rain, and people are like, "Hey, like it's way bad. Like blah blah blah. It's okay if you go early, blah blah blah." And he's like, "Well, I know that the dogs will stay on the rain. You can do whatever you want, but me and whoever the dogs are in the team will be out right now." And I'm like, "Okay, like bro, like." And so I get, there's something to be said about working hard and being diligent, but there's also just like, I don't know, the toxic nature of like, I don't know, people being afraid. And then people would like, I remember there was a couple people I was with who were like, oh, we had to like post a picture that like we're out knocking, and so they'd like they'd be in their car a lot, and then they'd go out and be like, oh, yep, grinding, and then they'd like kind of go like when it was raining. I was like, bro, this is just so backwards. Like we should be, I don't know,
Yeah.
same kind of thing. It was leadership and toxicity and problems like that.
Yeah. Which company did you sell for?
Uh,
Oh yeah.
I'll cut it out. Yeah. No, yeah, some awesome people I love and look up to, and some that are crazy. Dude, someone just posted the other day, made me so mad. One of the top dogs. He's like, today's my daughter's first birthday, so I went out, dedicated the day to her. I sold all of this, blah blah blah. And I'm like, dude, like, what are we talking about here? Like, you're missing your kid's. And it's a flex. It's a flex that he's missing his kid's birthday to go work, and other people are reposting it like, yeah, you're a beast. Like, dude, first of all, like, you're rich enough to fly home, be there, and fly back. Like, you're a multimillionaire. Yeah. And it's a flex that you're missing out on your kid's birthday to go work. Some people just make me...
That is what drove me crazy. I think that's another thing that I didn't remember until now, is that people would flex things that shouldn't be a flex.
Yeah. Oh, it's crazy, dude. Yeah. I think if there was any sort of HR in the sales world, I don't know, they'd have a field day, you know? Like, the things that happen are insane.
No one would be left. There would be a few guys on the team left.
Yeah, it's wild stuff, but that's cool. So, I'm glad you had the experience, I guess. You learned a little bit. It is what it is. Same with me.
I'm glad I did it. Yeah, that's what I'll say. Like, I didn't love it, but I'm glad I tried it, because I feel like I'd still be wanting to scratch that itch and go out and try it. And I'm glad I did it earlier rather than later with kids.
It's a great point. And my little brother's on a mission right now, and I was telling him, like, dude, like, you should do it. Like, you give it a shot. You got to do it for a summer. If you crush it, then great, dude. You're in a great spot. But if not, like, dude, there's so many things you learn. It's very valuable. So,
Yeah.
it's awesome, man. So, looking back, well, actually, I just make sure I have the cut right. So, looking back on the advice you've received in your life, what would you say is the best piece of advice you've received?
Shoot. That's a good question. I feel like I need to think hard and long about this one.
Yeah,
'Cause, like,
yeah.
you receive a lot of advice from family. You receive a lot of advice from leaders and bosses and professors and teachers. And honestly, my memory is not too great.
Yeah. Well, I do think, like, we receive more advice than is necessary, and that's not often solicited, and so it's kind of hard to filter. Like, I don't know, I feel like I receive more advice than I need, and so I've had to filter more important things out. So I get that it takes time to think about something good.
Yeah. Man. The best advice would have been me telling myself to be your own person, but I never received that advice from anyone.
Right.
I would say, I think Ralph Little, back to my professor here at BYU, the entrepreneurship teacher.
Yeah.
I don't want to get him in trouble by saying he urged us to drop out, but he didn't say that it was like completely necessary. But what he did say was, you need to find something you're super passionate about and find a job in that space, so you can enjoy it and it won't be as bad as I don't even know how to phrase it, but he was just saying, like, love what you do, find something that you're really passionate about, love your career, and it's not going to be work. It's just going to be a passion. It's just going to be fun.
Love that. I've heard that, and I think I heard it too late, because I think, like, my employable skills aren't exactly, like, my biggest passions in life. But at the end of the day, like, you know, money talks. Like, I do the best for my family, even if it's not the most fun thing in the world for me. So that is fantastic advice. I wish I had heard earlier. So that's good, man. What about, you know, in closing, what impact do you hope to leave on the world before you die? Whether that's, you know, from a business standpoint, your family, people you know, what's the impact you want to leave behind?
Yeah. One of the motivations for all of the businesses that we have attempted to start or have started and haven't been too successful, or future businesses or the current businesses we have right now, is like I always say that I want to get rich, and people are like, no, you don't. Like, being rich, you have your own set of problems, but the reason why I want to be rich and have a lot of money is to be able to like share our experience with food allergies, because it's a lot more serious than people take it to be. Like, you see a lot of people on TV that claim they have food allergies and then they still eat the foods that they're allergic to, and it's like that puts all of us food allergy parents and food allergy individuals 5 steps back, and then it takes so long to get everyone educated again. And so like the goal of the businesses is not only to get our kids over food allergies, but I want to be a force for good in that food allergy space, to do a lot of research for it, just share information that my wife and I have found information on, and just like impact different charities and impact different families' lives that are struggling with the same things we're struggling with. We're pretty confident that eventually we'll be able to overcome, like help our kids overcome their allergies eventually in their lifetime.
Awesome.
And so that's the main goal. But then I want my lasting impact on the world to be like, educate everyone in the food allergy space, because us as food allergy parents, we feel so, not neglected, but we just kind of feel left out all the time, just because we have all of these restrictions on what we can do, and we're always constantly trying to protect our kids, and it feels just kind of lonely sometimes. And I don't want people to feel like that. Like I want every single food allergy parent to be able to have a normal life again, and to be able to go to family functions without fearing for their kids' life or their own life, to not get frustrated with family members that don't fully understand like allergies as a whole. And so like, yeah, that's the goal of my life, is first become successful for our own family, and then become successful so we can impact other people's families in a positive way.
Awesome. And I love a lot of things you said. And I think before we wrap up, I want to give you the chance and the space to talk a little more about that. Because I could go on a rabbit hole about this stuff. I mean, in the beginning, because that's actually what you said, right? Is, you know, people say they have allergies, but they still eat the food. So maybe people will call things an allergy, but really it's just like an intolerance or something.
Yeah, or a sensitivity.
Yeah, sensitivity, intolerance, but like allergies is like actually a big deal.
Yeah.
And there's food all around us, and who knows what goes into all the little foods that we eat and are around and stuff. And so there's a big risk and a fear of that. And so I don't know, tell us, I don't know, I'm sure you could go on forever. So maybe a concatenated version of some of the important things that you learned and that you wish everybody else knew.
Yeah. I mean, going back to my first ever interaction with someone that had severe food allergies was back when I was like 10, 11 years old. And it was with someone in my ward who had a peanut allergy, to where his was airborne. Like if the peanut, like let's say you have a peanut butter jelly sandwich that you bring to school, you open it in the cafeteria, he's in the same cafeteria, he's going to go into anaphylactic shock. Wow. And I didn't really understand the severity of it back then. Like as an 11-year-old, you're not really, you don't really, you're never taught about food allergies. You're never taught how to protect other people from their reactions and stuff. And so, yeah, long story short, he was the one who introduced me to food allergies, and then it didn't really impact my life again until I had my kids that had food allergies. And I just wish that parents were like, just like everyone, like even in school, I wish there were classes in school that touched topics of food sensitivities. Or I had a job a couple months ago that I quit at a drug and detox center. I was just kind of the tech that cleaned, but I worked with nurses where we were filling out people's paperwork, and we had to put their allergies on a sheet of paper. And people with like peanut allergies and milk allergies and all of these other allergies, they were written on the paper, but there was like no precautions and like measures taken to like protect that person. I'm like, but this person has a peanut allergy, meaning like it could be airborne. We have a bunch of like Reese's peanut butter cups in the kitchen. Like, what do we need to do? Like, no one's educated. And so it just feels like an uphill battle as someone that is educated in it, because there's so much misinformation about food allergies disguised as sensitivities. And sorry, what was the question again?
You know,
I think I went on a tangent.
Well, this is great. I just want you to be able to talk about like what you've learned and what, you know, a couple of key pieces of information would be for everybody out there to know about in this world of food allergies that you know a lot more than most people about.
Yeah, I think well, what I've learned is that they are far more serious and far more restricting than people think. So, like, for our kids, we have to be super conscious when we go to parks or like indoor playgrounds or whatever, because even if a kid were to have their picnic at a park and then go over and play on the play set, their little fingers touch the play set. Our kids, they're climbing up the stairs, their little fingers touch the play set and they put it in their mouth eventually because they're kids. And then that could end up being a severe reaction, and that could put them in the hospital, if not kill them. And a lot of people don't really understand that severity, so people really think we're just crazy people when we're trying to take these precautionary measures and keeping our kids safe. So we'll refrain from family events or parties or just any like social gathering where there's food. Like, we just don't go, and people just think we're doing that because we either don't like them. We've had people approach us and say like, hey, like, what did we do to you guys? Like, why didn't you come to my
It's not about
my celebration? And we're like, well, we're just trying to protect our kids.
I never would have thought of this because, like, yeah, if you go to a gathering, bunch of food's out in the open, bunch of kids running around and playing, everything gets mixed around in the air, on fingers, touching mouths, like, you can't guard against that. So I never would have thought of that. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. The only analogy I've been able to think of that has actually like resonated with people is like, imagine if you gave kids and adults, everyone in a crowded space, a loaded gun, and they're just all running around with these loaded guns. And then you say, all right, go play with your cousins that have these loaded guns. Like, it's dangerous. And that's how we feel as allergy parents, like letting them just go play with kids that have just had their lunch or their desserts, saying like, hey, go play with them. Hopefully you don't get hurt. Hopefully you don't die. And it was like these other kids, they're not conscious of what they have in their hand. They don't understand what's in their mouth, and what is on their hands could kill our kids. So like, it's not on them. And that's why I think it's such an important thing to educate the parents, is that like we all just need to know how to navigate food allergies and keep everyone safe.
Yeah, and I mean, I had, up until this conversation, I had heard of anaphylactic shock, and that it's come with like peanuts and like maybe bees or something like that, and it can be fatal. But I didn't know about all these little things. I didn't know that somebody could be like deathly allergic to eggs. I didn't know that was a thing. I thought it was only like a few key things. So very interesting, and it makes it hard to shop to everything, man.
Yeah, like people probably think we're the worst parents ever, because we'll snip at our kids if we let them walk around the store, because they'll get close to the sides of the aisle and we're like, hey, get away from there, like out of protection for them. We're like, hey, get away from the food. Like, if you touch it, like, that's gonna cause some major issues.
You're like, bro, get a load of bro, just chill out there.
He's so intense. Like, loosen up a little bit. And every time our kids have had any sort of reaction, whether it be mild or severe, we've loosened up a little bit. And so now we just feel like we can't loosen up at all. Like, we'll let our guard down a little bit, and maybe like Morgan and I are playing a game at some family member's house, and the kids are doing their own thing, and then they'll come over with highs on their face and rashes on their skin, and we're like, oh my gosh. Like, of course, the one time that we like try to sit down and enjoy ourselves, something like this happens, and like it just feels like we're being selfish, and then we just feel like we can't do that again. We can't let up at all. Yeah. So we're really tense and tight all the time, just because we're so stressed about keeping our kids safe.
That's interesting. So for, I don't know, just like theoretically, right? If me and my wife were to babysit your kids, like what would you have to do to like inspect our house to make sure it was safe? Like how do you determine if a space is safe for the kids?
That's the thing. We would say, all right, you come over to our house because we know our house has nothing that they're allergic to, and you are not allowed to like bring any outside food or drink.
Yeah.
Just because most of the time it's cross contact. Even if it's safe food, there's cross contact, and we know our house is safe, so come over here. But that brings up another point of like even little play dates. Like it's hard to have play dates because other kids will have their eggs and sausage in the morning and then come over. Like if they were to come over, they're playing with these toys that our kids play with, and that's dangerous for them.
Wash all the toys. Yeah.
And so like
whole thing.
I feel so bad for our kids because they just want to have a social life, and we're just crazy helicopter parents that are trying to save their lives.
Well, they want to have a social life, and the way that the world is set up, it's not physically safe for them to have a social life because of its contaminants.
Wow.
And every social gathering, for some reason, it has to involve food. It seems like it's true. It's like, all right, we're gonna get together and throw or like play cornhole,
Yeah.
but let's also have some dessert. And,
Might as well eat something.
yeah,
Yeah.
have some chips and stuff outside that has milk and eggs in it. We're like, oh well, I guess we won't come.
Are there any like stores you have found that are like good for like, I don't know, like is
Yeah.
Whole Foods like pretty good for getting the stuff you need? Is stores or what?
There's a store called Sprouts.
Oh yes, that's the
Sprouts.
Orem, right?
Yeah,
Right by the mall, I think.
one in Orem. Yeah, right across the street, I think. So Sprouts has a lot of good things. We've just kind of found good brands that are generally safe, but we recently went to Walmart and bought a popsicle that I guess we did a Walmart pickup and had popsicles brought to our car. And we read the ingredients. Normally there's no milk, there's no egg, there's no made in the facility warning in there as well, or either. But this time we looked at the ingredients and it was like, may contain milk. And it's like even the brands that are safe, that have been making allergy safe food for years, can just all of a sudden not be safe anymore for the kids. So we just constantly have to look at labels, no matter if they've had the food a million times. We just have to be super diligent. And
Well, dude, kids are exhausting enough, and with having to handle all that, it just sounds crazy, man. I'm glad that you are there to know about it and educate me. You're probably already doing this, but you and your wife gotta be influencers, bro. You guys gotta put content out there and talk about it.
that's what I tell Morgan, because she's more eloquent. She's a better speaker than I am. Plus, she's a prettier face, and she's done a heck of a lot more research than I have on food allergies. She's the one that teaches me all the stuff about food allergies, because she's like, when she's spending time on her phone, she's spending time on her phone researching stuff. When I'm spending time on my phone, I'm wasting my life scrolling through social media.
Yeah, me too.
So I'm like, I probably couldn't be a good social media influencer for this issue and have that platform, but she definitely would.
Well, yeah, because then you talk about it, and she talks about the brands and things that have been helpful, and suddenly those brands want to give you free stuff, and it'll all grow. So
Yeah.
that's really
And we're firm believers that we're not going to share anything unless we like fully believe that it's a good fit for allergy families. And so like, we're trying a supplement right now for the kids. They're having these pills every morning that people swear by. Some of their kids have outgrown their anaphylactic allergies, and we're just hoping and praying that it's the same for us, and then we'll be able to just like blow it up everywhere, share it whenever we can. Because,
once it works for you.
yeah.
Well, dude, I appreciate you. I appreciate your time
Yeah.
sharing all this stuff about you and about the food allergy stuff.
Hope I didn't sound whiny.
No, dude, it's good. It's educational. I didn't know about any of this, man. It's one of my favorite things about talking to people, is just learning new stuff. So, anyway, you're the man. I appreciate you, dude. Thanks for being a person in Utah.
Yeah, I'm glad I know you. I'm glad I was able to be here on your podcast.
You're the man, dude. Take it easy.
Thanks.